Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to the inaugural Hinge Games live stream. Just waiting on Jacques, who's not responding to any messages, unfortunately. So I don't know. I guess we'll start without him. So this is our dungeon builder. Basically, so we have a procedural dungeon system, and a few months ago we realized that we could actually let players build their own puzzles. So what you're seeing right now, this is in game. So I can go build, and we have all these different elements that you could use. You can see in the menu all these different types of elements. They have different tags and different ways you can use them. We can just place a bunch of like destructible blocks in the level, and then run in, test it out. Use and then we also have so this is like a wind fan that pushes stuff around. That we built this element system relatively recently, so if the player runs into the wind, they get pushed back. The thing you might have seen earlier was with the GIF was if projectiles get thrown into the wind, then it pushes them too. And so we have that kind of stuff. We also have I keep pausing instead of. We also have so wind also pushes fire stuff around. So we have this. And I can make like a wood thing that will catch fire, and they gradually blow up. Oop. Oh, but the fire is off by default, so I'll need to turn that on. It's linked, but it's not turned on. That's a bit odd. I'll have to double check that. Game in development, folks. There we go, so that works. Alright, so what happens if I put it in the fire? Or if I put the fire in the wind? Yeah. I'll have to look at that. Maybe if I turn the wind off by default. So instead, I'll link it to this. Oh, and you can link things together as you can see I'm doing here. So I've linked this switch, and I'll turn this off by default. So when I run in, there's no wind. And then I can start the wind up. There we go. So then it pushes the fire, all the blocks start on fire. And it spreads, as you can see. Like anything that's wood in our game should be flammable. Probably not these doors right now, those are placeholder. But oh, it looks like Jacques is on his way. So he should be joining us soon, so it's not just me talking here. Oh, right, and there's multiple different kinds of wood. So this stuff in particular, the darker stuff, it burns, but it doesn't actually get destroyed. So it just kind of burns forever. And there's other little things too, like when stuff starts on fire. I'll run in here, do this. And now, like it should hurt me and knock me back and stuff like that, so you can't get past. But that doesn't seem to be functioning right now either. I gotta look into a few bugs. So, and let's see, does this actually work? Nope. So, basically, we have this system here, stuff you can link up to the doors. And so here, there's pressure plate. You can link that to the door. And then now, when I step on that pressure plate, that completes the puzzle. And there we go. So I get up here. That completes the puzzle. And then afterwards, all you have to do is leave the puzzle room. And now that's verified. Oh, hey, Phil just showed up. And then he left. Let's see. Hold on one sec. Ooh, hold on a sec. I think some other people are talking to me, but my audio is not set up properly. Let's see. Hey Phil, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I can hear you now. Oh god. Whoa. Those doors are loud.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Hey, there we go. I was confused for a sec. I was trying to log into the thing. What's it called?
The twitchy thing?
Yeah, the twitchy thing.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was asking for like verification codes and like checking to open up the email.
The thing is, if you go to Twitch, then it's like, well, you can type text messages to me, but we can't actually talk about anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
This makes more sense.
Yeah. So we'll be on the Discord, and whatever friends we want could be on the Discord, and then whoever wants to watch could be on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
There we go. Yeah. So trying to think of what I did over the last week. A lot of it was bug fixes, but it looks like I got more bugs to fix. Because like, I guess actually that kind of makes sense. If the wind is on by default, that it just immediately blows out the fire. Seems like, and you can't turn it on with the switch. You should probably still be able to turn on the fire with the switch. Or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, like that should probably work. Because you can see that, yeah, it's playing the smolder effects, the VFX for the smoke, but it's just not. Oh well.
So like you want it to like spark for a second and then get blown out? Is that what you're thinking?
Because with the high wind, if you don't have the fire going, with that wind speed that high, it might be kind of hard to start the fire. It does make kind of sense in that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it doesn't need to, I guess. So, yeah, and it could, so let's turn this off by default again. Yeah, because I guess that's the thing is with the fire system is it has to generate a certain amount of heat to hit critical mass and then actually start burning. Oh, there we go. And I can actually get burnt by this stuff and I get knocked back now. That wasn't working a second ago.
And since I am an actual volunteer firefighter, I'll tell you that you do need to have the fire going for it to actually ignite anything else.
Yeah, okay.
Just dropping a match on and blowing wind on it won't work that way, let me tell you.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah. See if I can
Do you want
it
to do the Dalsum effect where like heat, like the player goes on fire for a bit?
Player? Yeah, the player does go on fire for a bit. Oh, I guess they don't have to
Oh.
stay on fire. Because the thing is, like, this
Yeah.
this fire effect specifically is just made to, like, knock you directly back. And it's made for use with, like, the fire breather thing. So, like, you could make a door out of these things, right? Where it's
Yeah.
just they're blowing at each other, and there's no way that a player would be able to get past them because they just get knocked back. And it's just playing a canned animation of them getting hit back.
And you fix the moonwalk bug, right?
The moonwalk bug? Which one was that?
Where if you hit it backwards, it doesn't knock you through it.
Oh, yeah, no. It automatically, you'll see it turns the player towards it to face it as soon as they get knocked back. So, like, I'm facing down, but as soon as I hit it, I face up.
Ah,
Cool.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all good. Then yeah, I got the curving projectiles that I waited to get for that. I can't quite hit that one while on this, because I didn't make it with this in mind, so I'll get that out of the way. Let's see. Move this one forward. Thing is, like, this is really neat, but at the same time, it's kind of redundant because I can just go, like, use the combo system
Yeah.
to do that. But it's still neat. I'm sure we'll be able to come up with some cool stuff.
But you could probably do like set the distance further apart, like farther away than the curve shot could actually reach.
Maybe. I mean, the curve. I guess the thing too is, like, because of the tight space here, like, it's really hard to use the curved shot in this tight space.
Yeah. But you could
Exactly.
probably do like a, what's it called? One of those things where you shoot through a very narrow passageway, and then it curves after the little narrow corridor area. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. You could do that.
So there's ways to set it up where it'll work. Well, it'll have to work that way, I guess.
Yeah. Go, because like I could easily build something like that right now. Like, yeah, roughly like that, and then just a little area like this or something. Or I guess it can't. There's not a lot of space in this this room. Let me just start from scratch, actually. New room. Okay, so start with the air thing. And so you want to hit switch like that. And then have like a little narrow corridor or something like this. See if you can actually make that work. Yeah, not quite enough. Because the thing that works really nice is, like, if you get a good arc in there.
Hey, if you have two fans, does it curve more?
For projectiles, it probably would, yeah. So if I put another fan, like, right here.
Yeah.
I did implement a speed limit for the player. So that, like, yeah, maybe if I put in one more fan, let's give it a shot. Alright, so
yeah, more fans. Yeah.
Here we go, okay. Let's give it a shot. Whoa. Yep, that hit it.
Nice.
There we
Nice.
go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to make another fan, because one of the ideas Phil mentioned is, like, so we have that mountaintop, right? So we can have wind on the mountaintop that will push you and your projectiles around. But like, the fans that are currently in are way too strong for you to have a viable combat in that area. But if I make, like, a weaker one that, like, it pushes you slightly, and, like, functionally the way it would work is, so if you're standing in the fan and you're pushing, like, you're running towards the fan, then you just stand still. Yep. That's the fastest you can move. But but then you just move extra fast if you're running with it, and your projectiles will do more damage. Because I don't know if I mentioned that last week, but yeah, your projectiles damage is tied to its speed. So if you're upwind shooting downwind and the wind is increasing the speed of your projectiles, they'll do more damage.
Yep.
And actually, I think I have a guy here to demonstrate that. So, like, just a little test dummy shows how much. Yeah, I'm shooting him in the back, I think. So that's how much damage I'm doing on average. And if I start running towards him, I'm doing more damage.
Mhm.
Or I'll do it from the side. Yeah, so if I'm running towards him, I'll start doing more damage. If I'm running away from him, I'll start doing less.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be really cool.
I wonder if those like Korean gamers will get good at like pressing forward the second they shoot, and then back again as they run away.
Oof. Because the thing is, you accelerate. Your speed does not instantly
that's
change.
true. It's based on a multiplier based on your speed. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's because it inherits your velocity basically. So like, yeah, if you're backing up. But the thing is too, actually, the ultimate strategy would be like, be running, not shooting, and then shoot. But I don't know. I think your speed drops before you get the first shot off.
So I guess that also means that if you're wearing the heavier armor and moving slower, you're just going to be. I guess the lighter armor is going to do more damage as you're running forward, but you're going to take a lot more damage. So it's like doubling the risk.
You'll also be doing less damage as you're running away, right?
Yeah.
So if you're
So it seems like the light armor is like the heavy gamble armor, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it adds another layer of expertise you need for that. So
Interesting.
Let's create combat room here. We'll just do regular fight and just a bunch of small ones. Okay. So yeah, like basically with the heavy armor, because like if you're constantly just backing away from guys, then you'll be doing less damage. Because I think you already do less damage if you're wearing light armor. Generally, I can't remember. Actually, it might not.
No, because we have different weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. I think most of that's dependent on your weapon. So. Yeah, but yeah. So if wearing heavier armor, if you're walking away, yeah. What was that thing I did a few weeks ago? Oh yeah, and I set it up, Phil, so that go back over here.
Yeah.
If you are walking on a beam and you get pushed by wind, you'll get pushed off the beam. I think it was already like that.
Yeah, I think it did it before.
I think I did that before when it was that wacky one that like just pushed you, like it stunned
like
you and pushed
way
you.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that looked really buggy, but I hadn't set that up for the current one. That's like it just kind of like pushes you slightly. The beams that I walk across. So hard to see if things are lined up because I think I need to. Yeah, I walk across that.
Is it hard to see if it's lined up like going because of the verticality of it, or?
I think it's the camera angle, and I think part of it's the shading of it too, because it's like they're both. I don't think they're the exact same texture, but they're both the 50% gray texture, and it's really hard to see the edge of one and the other.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll make it like a glowy blue thing as you're moving it or as you're placing it.
Oh, well, there is a glowy blue thing when you're moving it or placing it.
Hold on, let's see.
Well, I think part of it is just basically like if the edge of this beam was black, and you could see if the black thing was matched up with the other black, or not even black, just like a darker color, so you could see, oh, this is the edge, so you could tell the difference between like it being too hot, like there's no distinct cap on it or anything like that. So if it had a distinct cap, I think that would help a lot.
But I mean, there's something I could probably do with like the UI to show that you're leveled off with it. Like when you're leveled off, you could have it like sort of, have a glowy, lined up thingy. I'll
Yeah.
have to figure out a system for that though, but I'm sure it can be done.
Oh yeah. Well, because we already have like there's a whole because there's two kind of child components on it. One of
Yeah.
them is like placement helper. The other one is well, I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like if you look at sort of the drawbridge. So you can
Yeah.
see on the drawbridge, like there's the blue glowy thing
Yeah.
that shows where the
Yeah.
drawbridge will be when it
Yeah.
falls down, and then there's the other blue
Yeah.
glowy thing that shows like if it's overlapping something else.
Yeah.
Which I can't see. There you go.
Hmm.
Now it's overlapping. So that turns
Oh,
orange
yeah,
when it's
I
overlapping. And then
think an easy way to do that is just extend that little thing. So, like for the beams, you extend.
yeah.
I'll maybe create like an extension of the beam so you can see if it's clipping through or not,
yeah, that'd
or
probably
going above. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
that'd be easy to do.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, and I'll just
Yeah. Don't
another
worry
thing
too
I
much
had to
about
do.
that. I'll figure. We'll have to figure out a system for that. It should be relatively simple though.
Yeah,
Figure
yeah.
out the
Well, because
system for
the
that.
thing is, like, it's just gonna be like a shader, right? So, and it'll probably just be a cube or some mesh like that. I also added, so normally these drawbridges you just need to hit the bounce post, but I made it so you could you set them up with a switch or other things as well.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can use those in more puzzles and in more ways. That one's flat. I'll use the other one that drops down. Or I guess I could use the flat one. Might want to add another label for those though. Just gonna have something like this. Oh, not that. I think I might need to make an undo button. Okay. Doing something like that, and then so you can either use a switch, like pressure plate, like that. I also, something really boring that nobody probably cares about, but I also refactored the way it determines what objects can be attached. So like, yeah, so yeah, you just hit the switch and then it drops the drawbridge across. It's not physics-based right now, though. It's just animation, so like if you put something in the way, it'll just crash right through it. And then, yeah, you can also use the spin gear. I'll need to level up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wow, that's a lot of cranks on that thing to get it down.
So normally what you do is, and ooh, I don't know if this is in, or if I got Eli's latest change yet, but dripping. Okay, so you have these gears. Normally what you do is, let's go down there. Pick a gear, and then you'd link that. And I'll just put it like down. I can put it wherever, but I'll set it to winch. And then I will unlink this and link it to the gear. And now that there's a winch, like every 45 degrees, it gets to the point where it can't go back. Now that there's a winch, like every 45 degrees. So if I spin it now, go down a bit, and then it'll go back up past a certain point, and then I can spin it again.
Who's
Here's
tasked
catching
with
it.
rabbits?
That's
Sorry?
me.
Oh, that's you. Okay.
Sorry, Phil was taken.
Oh, was it now? That's a surprise.
Yeah, I know, right? Who knew?
Yeah.
How
This
many
Twitch
different ways
platform
did
is
you try
pretty popular.
spelling Phil?
A lot.
I'm surprised you didn't go with rabid scorpions, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to talk about right now.
Oh, it's nice watching you play it.
Yeah, I think it's about right in the middle. That works. There's something else I was figuring out because we don't have the raft in any of the puzzles right now.
Yeah.
But something I was considering doing is like, okay, so I could make the wind affect the raft,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to make a separate one that doesn't push players that hard, but will affect the raft because otherwise it would push them off of the raft.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But we could make stuff in the overworld where it's like, okay, yeah, this. I think this is the thing that keeps messing up because this is set to looping, but it isn't actually being affected by the wind.
Oh.
And it definitely should be. Try putting another one of these. Unlink that. But yeah, so we could make like big ocean or river levels where you just kind of get pushed down the stream, or the wind pushes you around on the sailboat or on the raft. Huh? How does that work?
Oh.
I think this is the second time I've been on a stream and this hasn't worked.
Oh.
Should work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. It might have something to do with me refactoring the wind system because like some stuff is now handled by the wind component. Other stuff is just still on the air push thing. Like pushing blocks and pushing this stuff is still on the air push thing, but the projectiles and the player and the fire stuff is all on the wind component. Oh, and I also put in a check because what used to happen was like with stuff like this drawbridge and other platforms, because basically what the gear does is there we go. Because what? No, not that. Man, I don't want to build an undo, but I probably should. I'm just gonna get rid of this. Or start from scratch. Anyway, but let's see. So, what? I think there we go. Okay. Let's put one of those in. Put pressure plate in like that. Set this up to being. I'll set it up to winch. But what the platforms used to do, and I just realized, well, yeah, actually, no, this should be fine. So I'll add in a platform that's supposed to go up and down. Because what it is this, so this platform goes from a value of 0 to 1, and at 0 it's on the ground, and then at 1 it's at the top. But this gear goes from a value from 0 to 1, and when it's 0, it's at 0 degrees, and at 1, it's 360 degrees, and then it loops back to 0. So what used to happen is if you had a gear like this driving a platform, the platform would get to the top, and then it would loop back to the bottom.
It'll just snap to 0?
Yeah, it'd snap back to 0, then start going up again. But I fixed it so it's like basically doesn't do that. You'll see a little twitch thing happen every now and then, but it's like, okay, you're still driving it with this gear, so it's not so bad. Yeah. That's cool. And that'll be less buggy. And I went through everything and made sure, like, whatever the default state of something is, it gets toggled by a switch. So you'll see one of those is on, one of those is off. Now when I hit this, it toggles each state. So a lot of little quality of life improvements.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out what else it did. It was definitely a lot of bug fixes from the stuff we covered last week. Oh yeah, and part of me refactoring the stuff was like, okay, so now you can. Oh, you can't stack those. You should have been able to stack those. Stack barrels,
Mhm.
though, right? Nope. What happened? Can't put those on anything now. Yeah, you used to be able to do that. I'll have to double check because I refactored how things stack, and I had a build earlier this week where you could actually stack barrels on top of barrels
Mm.
and put them on top of platforms and stuff. Yeah. Well, I'll take a look at that. Are you taking notes, Chuck? Could you jot that down somewhere?
Oh, no, I didn't. I will start that right now.
All right, cool. Anything else? Oh, hey, Julian's here.
Hello.
Hey, Nash. How's it going?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Just finding some embarrassing bugs. Oh yeah, Jock, check out that what is the jot down the windmill thing, the pinwheel wasn't working.
Right. So today is October 5th.
Yep.
10:05.
Yeah, I gotta remember to keep an eye on Steam chat too, because Julian was in here and I completely missed him. But yeah. Anyway, what else?
There's
There we go.
someone in your Twitch chat too.
Yeah, a Father's Gaming Challenge.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Julian. He's a tester I used to work with on Tomb Raider and Mass Effect and Star Wars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He also Twitch streams. Like basically, he just had a kid, and every time his kid goes to bed, he plays a bit of. He's playing God of War right now.
My connection is horrible right now.
Yeah. For
Yeah, just-
what?
Everything is slow. Like I'm just able to rename the file right now.
Oh jeez. Well, renaming takes a while on Google Drive for whatever reason.
All right.
Yeah. Time stop right across the top of these things. I don't know. Because I've covered a lot of this stuff already with Phil and Jock, so I've covered it now for Nash. This is the puzzle builder. You can link things together, so these fires are controlled by that switch. So when I step on the switch, which is a state, and the switch also controls that gear and raises that platform.
The windmill not working
Yeah.
and barrel not stacking.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'll try setting this
Not
up,
those.
so- all the art is pretty placeholder. I also have, so we have
So- It's like water fountains, something.
yeah, it's supposed to be like a water
Oh.
fountain. So it has we have sort of this elemental system I built last week or the week before. So the water will get this wood wet. So you can kind of see some it's getting darker and shinier. And there's some water droplets on it. And then get rid of this, this. Put in a fire breather. And then like that.
So it doesn't burn.
Yeah, basically, so water has a dampness, and it has, or wood has 3 values basically. There's dampness, heat, and fuel. So if there's any dampness, it won't burn. But I'll turn that off. Yeah, so I'll start it on, I guess. So water has dampness, fuel, and burnt amounts. So if there's any dampness, it won't get set on fire. But if it starts on fire, it'll start removing all the dampness quickly. It applies a certain amount of heat every frame or every tick, and that heat removes that amount of dampness. And then after all the dampness is gone, then it starts warming it up, and you'll see sort of glowing embers in the wood. There you go, and then it'll start on fire. And once it hits max heat, then it starts on fire, and then it starts consuming fuel. And then once it runs out of fuel, then it'll disintegrate eventually. Right now it blows up because that's the effects we have in the database.
And you turn it off with water.
Yeah. If it starts on fire, then you can turn it off. Start it on fire. And there's like a steam heating up effect, or a steam drying off, and then I think a dampness, or a heating up effect. And then, alright, so here it's on fire. And then if I hit the water, and it saves how much fuel has been spent too, and that contributes to like the burnt level. So like if it gets really charred, like I'll let it burn a bit more so it gets a bit darker.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh no, didn't get it in time. But yeah, it'll stay like as charred as it was when it got put out. Yeah. And then there's also the wind stuff. What's that? Gotta work on my labels. I'll probably make another label for like elemental stuff so that you can see. Because, yeah, going through and finding, like, where's the air thing, I always have trouble finding it. So I got this little fan. If I set up a little fire in front of it, and then I can space out a few pieces of wood. Basically, if you start blowing on a fire. Oh, why is that? Oh, because I didn't link it together. There we go. Oh. So, if you start blowing on a fire, it starts pushing the fire over.
Oh.
Make it spread. But it won't spread to the damp stuff. And it also will blow out a fire eventually. But, yeah. And also, this also blows projectiles. So we're gonna build some combats where it's like windy, and so it'll push you around, and also your projectiles. But I'll make a lighter wind so it doesn't like you can actually hold your ground in it. But also, like projectiles, their damage is determined by how fast they're going. So if you can manage to stand upwind of somebody and then like throw your projectiles downwind, you'll do way more damage than if you're trying to hit somebody who's like 5 feet away from you.
Cool.
You need to shoot someone behind you somehow.
Yeah. So, and there, well, there's tons of stuff like for the combat system too, where we did I? Yeah, we'll just double check this. So yeah, so that this is our dungeon builder. Like that's the puzzle room builder. So you can build a puzzle room, verify it, and then load it into our dungeon builder. And you can build a room like, okay, so I have like an empty room here. This is a combat room. This is a combat room. This is a puzzle room I built. And then here's the treasure room. I could put this back here and put like a. So I could put that back there. I could put in like a boss fight. There we go. So now, got to do like a combat, and then a puzzle, and then a boss fight, and then there's treasure at the end.
Are you gonna be like random or make dungeons?
This is like one of the new features that we've made is like you can make your own. Like players will be able to make their own dungeons.
Okay.
But there is because it is a procedural dungeon system. So there are, when you play the regular campaign, there will be a bunch of these that are made procedurally. And then you'll be able to, at some point you can unlock, like, making your own dungeon, basically. And then we want to set it up so, like, you can share it with friends. I'm trying to think of, like, how that would work, because, like, something that could be really interesting for the wind stuff is... So this guy's blocking, for example, right? And it's like, oh, I can't hit him because he's blocking. Something that could be really interesting is if the wind was in my face, I could, like, shoot just to the side of him, and it would, if I could get it to curve around him and hit him in the back.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be an interesting thing to try and build.
To break his block. Or if there's something you have to face for some reason. Like,
yep.
It's a massive puzzle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's 4 room sizes, 1 by 1. This is 1 by 2. There's 2 by 1. And what? Why did that just go straight up?
So it's supposed to?
So is the wind blowing it?
No, I think it's just, I'll have to recompile it probably. It's supposed to be a catapult. It's supposed to launch it towards this thing. I think I just got to recompile it. Actually, why not do that?
Live.
Let's see. Okay. So, puzzle objects. There's the catapult. So I think my screen's probably too small, but there's like velocity, like it's what it's supposed to send, or what the velocity of something leaving the. Okay. Launch velocity. Wait for launch. That's what it was. Why is that? Okay. Yep. Okay, so there's a setting called wait for launch, which is basically... So I detect that the player hits the platform when they do the leap attack, and then I can launch it then, and if it has to go straight up, I might as well just launch it then. But what I should do for the catapult is I wait for it to be... I make sure that it's turned a certain rate at a certain speed, so that it's at launch velocity, and then I apply the force to it. So this should work now.
Okay.
There's every now and then when you do stuff with physics, you gotta do like some quirky things. Alright, so let's give this a shot. Okay. Also, there's a bit of a stealth system in here. Oh, okay, which way are we gonna go here? Okay. Alright. Oh, crap, he saw me.
Too strong.
Yeah. Well, I know all the tricks. Like, there's all these combos you can do on the analog stick. To do, like, so there's, like, shotgun, line volley. This one's really fun, because, like, it blocks enemy NPCs.
Oh.
So if you want to, like, if you're getting overwhelmed, you can, like, throw up a few... There's the circle volley and the line volley. Stick in the ground to block enemy movement. So just, they can't get to you. Or it makes them harder to get... Makes it harder for them to get to you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and then there's other stuff like the crescent volley and the spin spiral that, if they're blocking, like, it basically hits them from the side and it'll break their... They get, like, it breaks their block and they get stunned for a moment. There we go.
Oh. What was that for?
Hmm?
Oh, you go up, okay.
Yeah, I did a time stop so I could... Yeah, well, I guess if I was doing the puzzle legit, I'd have to experiment with that a bit and understand that that's what's going on, but... Whoa, what? What just happened there? I just walked right off. Hey, this was the puzzle I had a ton of trouble with last week, wasn't it?
Yep.
Shouldn't be that hard. Okay, so... Ah! Oh, I got it.
Oh, you did it.
Nice.
I made it. I step on that switch, turn that off. I should have fixed this by now, so yep, I can do that.
Yeah.
Now I got a shortcut back to the halfway point. I just gotta be careful on here, so I don't get knocked off.
Can you jump over the fire?
You can't jump over it or under it. You can dodge, but that's not gonna help you get past it. Like, basically, the way the fire works is it just knocks you straight back.
Do you plan on making the button that opens the door a different color or something to make it obvious that that's the one you want to go for?
Yeah, we'll probably set up something like that. Like, we have a small VFX when you're in the puzzle builder, but right now it's like, yeah, it's the same. We could easily make it like a gold one or something. Okay. Clear some of this fog. Nope. And he's dead.
That was quick.
Overpowered.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to check at some point, like... I'm only level 10, but I think I have...
What?
Oh! I know, I bet I know what it is. I probably have, like, the best armor in the game or something like that.
Why is the room so big? The boss is quite small.
Yeah, well, so the thing about the boss... Because all the boss fight rooms are 2x2s. And the thing is,
Okay.
like, they were too big to fit in any of the smaller rooms, so we just made it fit for the big one. We're gonna do like a custom, because basically there's, because of the way the nature of the procedural dungeon system, we basically have to block out a bunch of the room to make sure you get funneled towards the boss, and you have to fight the boss before going in one door and going out another. So most of the room will be blocked off, and then
Treasure!
I guess I can pick up the treasure. Why not? Where do we go? Stop. Alright. Some earth medium onyx graves.
Is that good?
Well, they were green, so they weren't very good. It goes up to, it's like Diablo, it goes up to like orange.
Ah, I
Orange
see.
is the best. Which is probably everything I have right now, which is why I do... Like, I should not be... With this target W, I should not be doing that much damage. That is ridiculous that I am doing that much damage. I am positive I have not put that much money into damage. I put all of my skill points into stamina so I could do that spin that lasted forever. But yeah, I must have been testing the weapon gym or something like that before this and just got the best equipment. So, and that's why I was able to, because basically the only way to damage that frog boss is from inside. And while I was inside, I just did one combo that just, because combos typically do extra damage. So I did one combo and it just killed him instantly. Which I'll have to look at scaling. Like, I haven't figured out if I want to scale. Oh yeah, so these are the different shapes of rooms. Like, there's 2x1, 2x2, really big. So if you want to build a massive puzzle, I think Phil. Oof, I don't know if it probably doesn't work anymore, does it? The one you built that was like had a block constantly being pushed around by the hammers.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they all got removed.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was like a big Rube Goldberg kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think I actually wait. If I look, do I have one saved? Hammer and Water, I think was it. Yeah, so this is good. This is it on a much smaller scale, but it's like, so get that.
Yeah, I had a whole giant room with them, going in a giant circle.
Yeah, and there were 3 blocks, and like,
Yeah.
how many hammers? Like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And
And
one
I
of them, that's when you develop the thing to attach the treasure chest to a block.
Yeah,
So you have to like chase it down.
So one of them had a treasure chest on it. And the other thing you could do now too, if you wanted, is like, so this is the one that opens the room. You could attach that to the block, And be
Oh, yeah?
Oh crap! I gotta get the one with the switch
One-
on it.
One with the switch, one with the treasure.
Yeah. It's like, how do we get that? Okay, let's see if I can actually do this. Oh yeah, so when your time stopped, you can like walk on water.
Oh, okay.
And you can ride up that wave. Okay. Oof, this seems... Ah! Nope, I got crushed.
Can you do that? Can you do that with the time stop though?
Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
that's a good point. That's a good point. That's the thing is like so many of these challenges, like if you want to make something challenging, and then you just use the time stop. So let's see if I can do it with the time stop. Okay, so I'll do.
Well, maybe you'll have to block the time stop.
Oh,
Almost.
dragon. Nope, nope,
Nope.
nope. Ow.
Well, if you want to cheese it, jump on one of those switches before the block gets there, and it won't reset the cooldown fast enough.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, hey, I can just do that, and then
And
okay,
knock
how
the
do I do
block
this?
over.
Okay. Oh God.
So wait, when you time stop, you can actually stop the blocks.
Hmm?
When you do the time stop, you can actually stop the blocks.
Oof. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna keep that because the thing that happened there is basically so there's a volume that should cause me to get crushed, like just happened there.
Yeah.
But what happened that time is like if like the player applies a certain amount of physics force to stuff they run into, and I should probably just disable that so you can't push things. Because otherwise, yeah, especially like because the whole thing with the push block is you can only push it with the cleave ability because it's supposed to be like ridiculously heavy.
Okay. Should I write that down in one of the notes?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I can just go. Go on.
Oh yeah! Oh, you had it! Oh, yeah!
Got it.
Nice.
Yeah, and so the other thing is I track which abilities you use, so now it's verified, and I use the time stop, the dodge, and the cleave ability. And because you unlock them in a specific order, or you might, like... We haven't figured out how this is going to factor into playing people's other maps, but it's good to have that information, because now I can say, well, these are the abilities you need if a player is playing through, like, let's say they do a New Game Plus or something, and in New Game Plus, you get all your abilities removed and have to unlock them again. But we could add the ability, it's like, okay, now you can play community-made maps. And so if you make a community-made map, you can say, okay, well, this one requires dodge, cleave, and time stop. So as soon as you have all three of those abilities unlocked in the campaign, then we can add this one to the pool of possible maps that you can play.
That's cool. Is it only the abilities that do something, or if you just use them without affecting anything, it still counts?
Okay, so basically, dodge and time stop, I have a really hard time checking if you've actually used them on something. So there's also like, so the cleave ability, like that's an ability. So and I can track whether or not you used it on something. Like, so I've just used it on that. So now if I solve the puzzle, it will register that I used the cleave ability on something.
So what happens if you use it on something that had nothing to do with the puzzle, or you can't know, right?
Yeah, I can't know. Well, because the idea is this is just for verification, right?
Yeah.
So this is to verify that you can complete the puzzle. Just like Mario Maker, there will be ways of designing puzzles that are impossible for somebody to complete if it's not the creator. But generally speaking, it's just, this is the list of abilities. So if you use a bunch of stuff as the creator when you're verifying the puzzle, then it'll register those as verified and it'll require all those abilities. But if you use the bare minimum, it'll just, and when you walk out, it'll say these are the abilities you used, right? When you verify.
Cool.
So I'll just to make this easier, like I'll put that on the ground and then I'll say, okay. So here, all I did was use cleave, and then leave, and it just says, okay, use cleave. I'll try it again, and I just open it. It'll say verified. Oh, it didn't reset. I'll have to double check that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it could, because in between verifications I didn't reset it because it's considered verified now. So what I need to do is if I just move this or something. Right, so you can see next to the name Hammer and Water, like room details, Hammer and Water, there's verified in a checkbox, so it's not checked right now. So now if I go in and just step on it, then it'll say verified and I haven't used any abilities.
Yeah.
You can see that right next to verified, so it's been verified. And now I can save it. And if I want to, I can use it in a dungeon. And then what I should be able to do is eventually we'll set up a sharing system where it's like, okay, so I can publish the puzzles I made or full dungeons. Because I can make a dungeon, like I can place up to 49 rooms because it's 7 by 7. The grid.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. We're probably going to have to put in hard caps for like, this is how many of this item you're allowed to use in each room, and then probably put a limit on how many rooms. Although the thing is too, like if they're empty rooms or if they're just combat rooms, then there's not really any reason you couldn't be like, all right, yeah, so I'm gonna go put in another empty room here, and just have like a spiral or something like that. But they also, like, the rooms automatically generate links between them, so if there's 2 rooms that are adjacent to each other, they're going to be connected. You can't have like a path that goes up one way then back the other in snakes. It's just it's just the player is going to be able to walk straight to wherever.
Yeah.
Although if you made a massive dungeon and it's like, okay, so the point of we say the point of the dungeon is to get to the treasure, you could like hide it in this corner here, and then just have like, okay, so there's a room here,
Fire.
and a room here, and a room here, and then like that, and then like it's just the room on the other side of the boss is just like it's just an empty room, and then you have to like, okay, so you beat the boss and then you gotta go. So yeah, there's ways the players can be jerks and do whatever they want, but at some point we have to let
That's
it go
what I
and be
like to hear.
Yeah, at some point you just kind of have to let that go.
You gotta let the players be jerks.
Yeah,
That's part of the fun.
yeah. But the other nice part about that is like basically, or something else I want to try doing at some point is, so last time I ran through this dungeon, I got a green piece of equipment, and like I said, it's Diablo style, all the different colors. Orange is the best. I want to try and figure out a way of doing like a point system. So the more difficult you make the dungeon, like let's say I put another boss in here that you have to beat. Right. Okay. So now you have to fight the frog boss and then the wolf boss, and at a certain number of points, you'll get a certain type of equipment. So if you put like the treasure chest right next to the front door, it'll trace the shortest path to the treasure, and then say, okay, this is super easy. This will be like a white junk piece of item or whatever. But then it's like, okay, so now you put a puzzle, and the bare minimum would be like, okay, so if you fight a boss and there's a puzzle and a combat you have to go through, then that'll be a green item. And then if it's harder than that, then it's like, oh, maybe it'll be a blue. And then what colors do we have? Because I think there were 7. Oh, wait, yeah, what colors do we have? I'm having trouble remembering now. Because I know there's blue. It starts off at white, then green, then blue. Purple. That's the one I'm missing. There's purple, then orange, I think. Yeah. And we might add another one in DLC, like a fuchsia or something. So Borderlands does pretty well.
Double gold.
Double gold, yeah. Yeah, actually, Jacques, if you want, add the texture swap for, or the material swap for the whatever item is supposed to solve the puzzle. That'll be super easy for me to do.
Oh, material swap for. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just take the chrome one you made, and I'll just do a gold version of it. So, and it's like super easy to do.
Sorry, material swap for what was it? Was how you word it?
The dungeon solving element.
All right.
Because there's only there's only 3 things right now that can solve a dungeon. There's the pressure plate, the switch, and the pyre.
Yeah.
Which I honestly don't know how useful the pyre is going to be because you can always just throw an explosive shot at it.
Yeah.
It could be out of the way or something, behind a wall
Yeah.
or something.
Well, I mean, and it goes to the verification process, right? Like, if you don't need to use explosive shot to solve the puzzle, and you just made a shortcut that, like, okay, if somebody has explosive shot and they play your puzzle, then fine. But if they don't, then they actually have to do the full puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But there is definitely, because I made... So if you look at the range of the cooldowns, like if I'm using explosive shot, this does not go very high or very far. But if I don't use explosive shot, it goes super high and super far. So if I took this and let's see, so if I added, whoa, okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take a look because I think, because I should be able to I should be able to stack these platforms for sure.
So is nothing able to stack right now?
Well, no, because I'm able to put the switches on, but yeah, to add a note about stacking platforms and stacking stuff.
Okay.
Take a look at that. But you should be able to stack this up high enough that you wouldn't be able to reach it with your explosive shot combos even. Yeah, because those don't go very high, but the regular shots actually go fairly high. Yeah. Oh, and one other neat thing I should show Naj about the stuff is, so we have there's rooms with puddles or water
and electricity.
that we're gonna do in DLC. But it's totally compatible with all the stuff we've built so far. But basically, so you have this explosive shot that's it's a bomb. It's basically the bomb in Zelda. So it blows up when it hits stuff, but if it goes through this water pillar, it gets diffused and turns into a regular shot.
Oh, that's cool.
And since there's water on the ground, if it hits the water on the ground, before it blows up, it just sticks to the ground and just gets diffused.
You can solve puzzles with that?
Yeah, I think there was one I made in the builder. I haven't made one in the actual game yet, but it's like if there's explosive shots you have to hit, and they're only on the other side of a waterfall or something. And whoa. Double check this. There we go. Okay. But yeah, you could easily make a puzzle where it's you have to blow up some explosive. Like there's the switch is over here. There's some.
Oh, I'll be right back.
So something like some destructible blocks. That doesn't solve the puzzle. This does. And it's like, okay, I have to blow up. And this element won't quite work for it. Oh, actually that did work. Whoa, I'm gonna have to double check that.
So you managed to break them through the water?
Yeah, I shouldn't be able to. That's another bug I'll have to fix. Oh, it seems like it... Yeah, because if it just clips the water, it still works. I'll have to double check the volume on that. Can you get a note on that?
So it's not supposed to... It's not supposed to go through the... Projectile's not supposed to go through the water?
Well, water should diffuse explosive projectiles. Projectiles can go through the water, but it's just if they're explosive, then they should get diffused.
Okay.
Yeah, see that now they're getting diffused. And then, okay, yeah, there's probably just the overlap volume on this just isn't big enough. Like it should be easy. It should be diffusing the ones that hit like that.
Okay, so just get rid of that. Just fix overlap volume.
Yeah. And we might, I guess, because the other option would be something like, let's see, we got the water fountain. So if this was just on constantly. Oh, it still blew up. Yeah, I'll have to double check. I'll have to adjust the volumes for that to make sure it gets diffused properly. But yeah, that should theoretically work. And the way the system works is basically like, when, like there's something called an elemental component, and that's the parent. And then there's children of that are wind components, fire components, water components. When something enters like a water component, then it applies water to it. So right now, water doesn't do anything to wind, and wind doesn't do anything to water. It mostly revolves around fire, but it just that element gets applied to it. There's also, we plan to have lightning, so when a lightning element overlaps water, it would apply lightning to it, which would have an effect, and that would probably just be like sort of a lightning thing on the surface for the shader, and then any player pawn that touches that would get a status effect that like shocks them and does damage or something.
And then you can have puzzles with mechanisms that need electricity to power and
yeah, and we have
stuff.
So right now a lot of the placeholder shader that Jock's using is like metallic, but we're gonna maintain a lot of metal stuff in our puzzles so that anything that's metal you should be able to apply that to, and it'll conduct electricity and stuff. Like there's metal on this block, on the push block there, so
cool.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna do lightning and something else for DLC. I can't remember what, but yeah. I think one of the other things we were gonna do is like maybe add NPCs to the puzzles you build. So like you could have an enemy that's on a patrol or something like that around the puzzle. The thing is, we want to keep it fairly simple, but like being able to set up an NPC patrol path is not simple with our UI or anything like that. So
yeah, miserable pain.
yeah. Well, it's like the number of variables, because like any object you pick up. So if you look at the control panel, like I can press Y to toggle like a state for it. So right now it's light wood. I can change it to heavy wood. That burns forever. Or I can change it to stone. Also, we'll add a metallic one so it can conduct electricity.
Sure.
And it's all it is the material is just changed, and then, but also, when we launch the game, then we'll just add a different component to it and change and have different settings. So like that adds a flammable component. This adds a flammable component, but it just changes the fuel to infinite, so it never runs out of fuel. And
Infinite fuel.
And it's so basically, and like this doesn't have any settings on it. This you can have it on/off timed. This you can set to like on/off or just sticky. So when you walk on it once, it just stays down, and then if you walk on it again, it comes back up. And so, trying to figure out all the variables you need for an NPC is like you need a lot, and you couldn't just have like one button to cycle through them all. Let's see if I can solve this. So turn on that fire. Oh, no, right. Turn on that fire. Blow this. Oh no, I gotta keep it blowing. Gotta set everything on fire. There we go, it's burning, it's burning.
Nice.
Can you reset puzzles, or if you fuck up?
I haven't built that yet. That's something we're gonna have to do. We have like a snapshot system. So originally, like anytime you walk past one of these, it saves your game and refills your health. But if you ever go into a combat, so if you go into a fight and then die, it basically before combat starts, or before you enter the... Oh god, this could take a while. This could take a while. I definitely have ridiculously good armor. Hold on. I can actually build a much harder puzzle, or a much harder combat. 1 second.
Yeah.
Did you just change the armor?
No, I don't have the shop set up in here. So, yeah, let's set up. Bears, goats. It's gonna do the most damage. Yeah, it's alligators, turtles, maybe. Epic and giant. All right. Let's go fight these turtles. Yeah, we didn't. So, like, you can change your equipment at a shop, but since it's made to be like 1 to 4 player co-op, we didn't build like an inventory management system so players would sit around and like we didn't want 3 players sitting around.
Yeah.
Doing 3 players sitting around while one other person does inventory management. Ah, crap! I just hit B. In either of these areas, if you hit B, then it teleports you back to the shop. So like if you're editing and iterating on stuff, it's just super quick. But if you're trying to die in a fight, where am I? There we go. So I died. It literally takes the longest part of that is the death animation, but it just reloads you back and resets the combat. So I'll have to set up something similar for puzzles. Frustrating thing is like all the puzzles I've built so far, it won't necessarily work for. Anything built with that system, it will work for because basically every object is just a proxy that spawns the actual puzzle object. So to reset the puzzle, I just go through all the proxies in the room, delete the object that they spawned, and then respawn another one. But for all the actual puzzles I built, I'd have to go through and rescript all those if I want the reset system.
Pain, yes.
Should be theoretically possible. Well, the thing is too, like the way I've been designing all my puzzles is they should never need to be reset. Like you should never be able to get them in a state where it's broken.
You're stuck.
Yeah, but this one you easily could. Like if you start the wind and then let one of them burn and then turn it off. Then the chain is broken, and now you can't. Once those burn out, then you're never going to be able to set this one on fire. And then it's broken.
Just need to make those lower bricks out of rich mahogany.
I mean, you could do that, but the thing is, like, players might not, and they might build puzzles that you could easily mess up.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and there's a lot of little pieces of flair I want to add too, but because like one cool thing would be if you're running through a dungeon, and then you walk into somebody else's dungeon room, and you get like a little title card on the screen that says like the name of the puzzle, and then built by, and the player's name, whatever their username is. It'd be pretty neat. Or like when you walk into a dungeon, it's like dungeon by this person, and then. But I still haven't figured out a good way to pace like rating rooms. So like if you're going through a dungeon and you beat a puzzle room, like what do I do to get the player to like rate that out of stars or add a tag to it or anything like that? Because I'd have to build like a whole new UI, and how do I make that unobtrusive? And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a pop-up or something.
Yeah, I think one easy way to do it would be like as you're leaving the room, like going through like that, like there'd be a like a pop-up, like a thing that would say like press A to rate or something like that. Try building a little thing. pressure plate. The other thing is I find myself using the pressure plate all the time. Just because, like, this switch, it's very difficult to position it in a way you can't hit it from one side by just using, like, one of the combos. If I just go like, whoop. Oh. Oh. I do have to get back here. Oh, so close. There we go. So now if I wanted to blow that out, we'll try doing this. And then my options would be a wind fan. Let's turn that off by default. That's on fire. Turn. Oh, it's not set sticky. It's sticky. So I might as well set this one sticky as well. So now if I try going up the stairs, just get knocked back by the fire. Turn off that, and then turn on the wind fan. That should blow it out and cool it down. So you can see the red embers go away before it gets turned off. Basically, when wind and water start affecting fire, they cool it down, and then once it gets to the minimum heat, then the fire just goes out. But now it stays kind of like charred.
Let's say that one, if you break the stairs, you could be stuck.
Yeah, yeah, like if the stairs were light wood instead, then it's very easy to get stuck. If I blow 'em up,
Users are gonna make stupid puzzles that get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can make levels in Mario Maker that you can't finish, right? So that happens. I do think we should probably use something that's not like a hardwood, though.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. You mean for the one that burns forever?
Yeah, the one that burns for rubber.
Do you have platforms that are slippery when wet?
Oh, that's the other thing. We were gonna do lightning and ice in the DLC.
Right.
So we could have an ice shader for basically everything in this building block list. We'd be able to apply an ice shader to, and then it would be like if. So it's just ice, and then if you apply fire to it, then it'll start melting, or something. We'll figure out all the details later. But
bees.
Bees. We'll have,
yes, the element of bees.
It'll be a block of bees.
Yeah.
There's weirder shit out there. Bees are okay. You can do bees.
Bees are fine. Hornets are terrible. Hornets are wasps. No, wasps are the worst.
Fuck wasps.
Yeah, I wonder what all's broken. Like, let me grab one of those blocks and see what I can attach to it. Because I actually did this test last week where I was like, okay, so what could I attach to a block? I cannot attach a gear. I should be able to attach a gear to it. I should be able to attach... Oh, I can attach the hammer to it. This is amazing. Hold on, I gotta finish.
Oh, is this because it pushes itself, right?
It should push itself. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it pushes itself.
Does that move around? Oh wow, okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm leaving it in. I'm not fixing that. Let's see.
It's a
So you can
feature.
attach the switch. You can attach that switch. You can attach the pyre. You can attach the fire breather. You definitely cannot attach the water pillar. Water fountain you can attach. Wind fan you can attach. Boulder spawner.
Well, this is really cool. Gotta go, man. Talk
All
to
right,
you
yeah. Have a good night.
soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Good night. Yeah. I mean, it's 10:22. We can call it quits for the stream.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go through and figure out all the things you can and can't attach. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a good night.
All right.
Night.
Night.